Well, welcome back to another video. This is our first breakfast with our home-raised sausages and bacon. We done the chickens last week. We've still got a couple of lambs to do again in the freezer, but this week we've got a lot of work to do, harvesting stuff in the garden. So we're going to get fueled up and then we'll take you out there and we'll show you what we've got going on this week. Let's do this. Well, that was absolutely lovely. Now I'm going to wash it down with our homemade apple juice that we did a few weeks ago. We got a tub out the freezer last night and defrosted it. So we're going to wash it down with this and then we're going to get busy. Perfect.
Do you want some bacon? Well, it's one of the most exciting harvests of the year for me. Finally, we get to harvest our winter squash, so pumpkins and squash. I have a little idea of what's there, but I keep seeing different pops of colour. I have no idea how many we're going to get in total, so Stephen's going to give me a hand getting all of these harvested, and if we've got time, we're going to get the potatoes as well. So if you've never harvested pumpkins before, one of the things that you want to try and do is leave as much on the end of the stalk as you can. One of the mistakes that I made was taking it really close to the pumpkin itself when I harvested it, but we're going to be getting all of these today because we're right in the middle of October now. Sometimes we can leave until the end of October. There's no more growth going to be made on these guys, so I'm going to leave that so there's kind of a bit of a T on the pumpkin. This is a Geet variety, G-E-T-E. Never had this before, and they're supposed to grow to 2 or 3 foot long. Never mind, this is the biggest one we've got of this one. Really pleased with that. Hopefully it'll taste as nice. Just put a little cloth in the wheelbarrow there just to protect them. And then there's a couple more. Let's go and have a little look. One down here. That's the biggest one of that variety we've got. There's another one. To be fair, that's a really good size. If you think how much you'd actually have in one sitting. Right, let's see what else we've got. Stephen thought this was a courgette all summer. This as well is useful for other things. Actually, we might have another contender for the largest in here. Whoops. This is quite, no, maybe not. Although it feels heavier, I'd be interested to see what they're like inside once you cut into them, how many seeds and things there is. So sometimes there's too many seeds and not enough flesh. That is another one right inside the brambles. Do you want to get that one?
Right, let's get on with this bed. I don't know how many's in here, but these are the baked potato variety in this bed. So we'll start cutting them out and see how many we've got. They're perfect size for a meal, 2 of us.
I first heard about this variety on a friend of mine's blog. She used to have a blog back in the day, not just Green Fingers. She's on TikTok and things like that now, but she swears by these. And I first grew them, I think it was last year. And if you've been around for a while, you'll have heard me talking about these a lot. They are absolutely fantastic. Cut in half, pop them face down in the oven just to bake, and then they scoop out amazingly, and they taste just like baked potato but with a lot less of the carbs if you're interested in that. I think we can safely say these beds have about had it. These collars have been fantastic. We'll be using those next year.
Well, we've just come over to the main patch now where we've got our pumpkins, and we only built these beds at the beginning of this year, I think about March time, April time. It has got a bean arch in it which blew over in the storm, so we've sort of rescued that, but we'll get onto the beans another day. Today is just all about the pumpkins, so we're going to get all these harvested and then we'll lay them all out, and Tracy will go through what varieties they are, what we use them for, and all the good stuff like that. So now we just need to get them harvested and into the barrow.
Oh yeah, like trying to do the shape. The careful little bit snap under the way.
squash them, and you hear the rock hard.
Oh my goodness! Where's the rest of that?
Just took it from over there. Oh, there's a couple of these small. Are they supposed to be small?
Yeah, the single serving. Oh, that's fab. I'm excited about them.
Oh.
Where are you? Look. Hey?
Skunk.
Oh man.
Tiny little ones here, I don't know.
Well, some of them are tiny, so it depends what they are. Oh my goodness, I've run out of space. Right, let's get these over on the table and have a look and count what we've actually got.
Well, it's a 2-barrow haul. We've never needed 2 barrows before, so we're going to get all these loaded up. We've just finished tidying out all the old leaves and everything out there. They've gone all in the compost bins, so we're going to get these loaded up into these barrows, get them over at the outdoor kitchen, get them all cleaned up, and Tracy will tell you what we've got, what varieties they are, and what we've got ready to store in the winter pantry, ready for a good old winter feast up.
I have to say, I am absolutely thrilled, almost as thrilled with this harvest as I am with the onion harvest, but let's not compare, just like the children. Anyway, beautiful, beautiful harvest. We've got a huge variety going on here. There's, starting off at this end, this is actually called Ute, U-T-E. Apparently it's a really rare variety that we've got. There's a few Cinderella type pumpkins here which are called, it's a French Rouge de Vive or something, Vitombe. I'll put it on the screen because my pronunciation's terrible. And I've got some seeds that were called red onion. I've since later learned that I think the red onion and the uchikuchikuri, as I call them, because I can never pronounce that one either, are of the same variety. So these are supposed to last really well. Absolutely perfect size. Using these and making soup bowls, it literally using the outer shell as your bowl and roast. I'm going to roast them in the oven. I'm going to be doing that later on. So if you're interested in anything like that, tune in. There's a blue hubbard which is over here. These are both blue hubbards. I think this one's the Ute as well, but they do look kind of similar, but this one here has got the blue the hubbard kind of shape, distinctive shape to it. This over here is definitely an Ute though, so really interested to see what they taste like. So it's supposed to be really nice. These banana shaped ones, which are the Geet variety, again I'll put all the names on the screen because I'll mispronounce some of them. We've got quite a few of those. There's some of these tiny ones which we'll just roast whole. These are the golden nuggets. I'll come to these ones in just a second. And then there's also these little acorn ones, sweet dumpling, down the bottom here. These, I'm a bit disappointed in the amount that we got because they were supposed to be prolific, and by my standards they're not prolific, so never mind, I'm sure they'll be just fine. And the last variety here that I've got to come to is my ultimate favourite. I mean, look at that, isn't that just absolutely perfect? So this is the baked potato variety that Stephen mentioned. I'll just literally cut these in half, roast them in the oven down so that they almost steam themselves, and then we'll be filling those with, we've recently just cooked up a load of game mince, and we'll be stuffing these with game mince and cheese and all sorts of absolutely fantastic things. So I'm really looking forward to eating these over the autumn and winter. And then randomly we've got one spaghetti squash, so I'm not sure what happened to the rest of those. And disappointingly, though I'm not bothered because we've got a fantastic harvest of everything else, we didn't get a single butternut squash. And I think the irony of that is that was the only plant that we bought. I'm trying to think if this is a true statement, I think it is. The only plant that we bought that was from the nursery down the road that we didn't grow from seed, and we didn't have a single one. So never mind, some fantastic pumpkins here instead. These ones are just beautiful, aren't they? My daughter's just asked if she can carve some of them for Halloween, so she's still running in the other direction when I gave her answer, chased her away. Anyway, this is just an amazing harvest. We need to get these to cure now and see how we're going to store them, because we've got tons of things coming in at the moment, which we're going to go to the garden and get the next lot, which is the rest of the potatoes. We've harvested some of them already. We've got a load more to get done, and I'm not sure where we're going to store them all. I think Steve's going to have to make a bigger storeroom.
Well, like you're seeing over there, fantastic haul of winter squash. Can't wait to get stuck into them. So we've just come back into the veg spot now to get on with our next part of the day, which is the potatoes. So we've just cleared all the leaves away from the squash beds, put them into the compost. We've already done the onions, they're done. We've already done one bed of potatoes here, and we've got two to do. We've got this one next to the other bed of potatoes, and we've got one over there. So we've collected all the slug collars in. They're getting put away till next year, but we need to get all these harvested because it looks like it's going to bucket down. So time's against us, we better get cracking. Well, we're back to it thick and fast today. We got rained off yesterday. We literally got about 2 lines in and the heavens just opened, so we had to call it a day. We went and did other stuff, but we're what, a third of the bed in now, and we've already nearly got a barrow full with these. So we just got to keep digging. It's looking good though. Right, that's one bed emptied. I think we've got a full overflown barrow and a couple of little buckets full out of this bed. So it looks like we're going to be well stashed for potatoes and squash, because we've still got another bed to empty, so we'll get on to that next.
Well, this bed here is a bit more challenging. This is one of our older beds, whereas the bed we've been working on has got lovely fresh compost in it from what we put in earlier this year. And also you can see the weeds have been coming up along the edges, and this bed, to be quite honest with you, was only planted with potatoes just to put something in it. There's probably more potatoes than we'll actually need, so we'll be able to give some away, but it was just to start trying to improve the soil a bit, because this bed, if you've been watching for a while, you will know it's my nemesis bed. So it's going to be a lot more challenging than the bed we've just done. I think there'll be a bit more waste in here as well. We've had some rodent activity, which we'll show you when we get to those potatoes, so we'll just, no idea how this one's going to turn out. Well, it's suspected this bed, for whatever reason, has got a lot more nasty rodent activity in it, so they've had their fair share, well, more than the fair share, I'll be honest with you. But the reason we picked the camera up, I don't know how this is going to turn out. I started pulling this, and then look at the length. It's actually not as big as I anticipated, because I just got that one out like that. Compared to my hand, it's absolutely huge. Some of them though have got a bit of blemishes on them, so we're definitely going to be having to use these and get them preserved really quickly. But some really good sizes all the same. Rodney needs to catch that blooming mouse though. Well, here we are in the greenhouse a few days later, and we're in the greenhouse for 2 reasons. One, because it is raining outside yet again, and 2, because the potatoes are in here. So at the weekend we did get rained off harvesting that second bed of potatoes. The first bed, which is in this barrow here, was much easier to harvest. It was absolutely fantastic. Stephen could get in there and get his arms dug right underneath the soil, because under the compost, because it was nice and loose, and turned it over. All the potatoes came to the top and we harvested those. Couple more tubs here on the shelves as well, so that was fantastic. So we thought the second bed was going to be just as easy, but you might have heard me saying that bed was my nemesis bed, meaning that it's been a bit of a bother for me for the last couple, well, ever since we inherited it when we moved here. It is really compact. We're going to need to do something with that bed as we move into next year, but that's not for today. What we did manage to get out of that bed before we had to call it a day were these potatoes. These are all red, so red skinned but also red inside. The variety was Hearty red for most of them. It's supposed to be better for you in terms of antioxidants and things, but who knows, it's nice to have a variety. Unfortunately, with that bed, some of them were chewed, as I showed you earlier on in the video, by rodents, but there were some really, really good ones as well. The first bed that we did, the majority, well, in fact, all of those were really good. No bother from rodents or anything like that. So we're trying to figure out why they're staying over on that side of the plot, but not on this side of the plot. So we've got half a barrett here that we harvested, and there's still half a bed out there that we need to get harvested as well. Now, unfortunately, looking at the weather for the next few days, it's pretty much more of the same. So we're not sure when we're going to be able to get out and get those harvested. In theory, they should be okay under the soil, but we don't want any more slug damage or anything like that. Now, last thing on the potatoes before we go over and show you something else, some of them have got little holes on, not from rodents thankfully, but from another pest, possibly wireworms, possibly slugs, not too sure. So I will need to get onto some of these potatoes and get them preserved. I have washed this barra, this orange barra, took them out, gave them a dry and put them all back in again. And there is some really, really small ones like this, which we'll just be preserving in jars at the size that they are, and just getting to use those over the winter. But to be honest, the amount that we've got, we're absolutely thrilled with. It's definitely going to see us through for a good few months at least, maybe even into when we start getting salad potatoes next year. Fingers crossed. Anyway, that's enough of being out here in this miserable weather. As with small holding, unfortunately, we're always subjected to whatever the weather throws at us. We're going to go in the house and show you what we've been getting up to there with some of the other harvests.
Well, like you're seeing, a massive haul of potatoes over there. Super pleased with that, and a massive accomplishment to Tracy, because to be honest, she's the one who spends all the time during the spring and the summer planting them all out and doing all the work. I'm just there to harvest them all and do the donkey work. So super pleased with everything she's got done, and it'll see us through with lovely food for months and months to come. So they're all just to get in and get them processed and get them either canned or stored somewhere. But what we have brought in the house, because as well as trying to get all the harvest done and everything, we are trying to decorate the house as well. So we've just got this room finished, which is just our utility room. And we picked this off another marketplace pick. So we just thought we'd bring some stuff in and get it so it's at hand so we can use it like quickly and we don't forget about it. So we just brought some of the onions in, the rest are stored over in stores. Brought some of the squash in that we're going to use next. The big squash are just out there in the room behind Tracy on a windowsill when it's a north facing, so it won't get too warm out there. So they're just going to stay there for the time being. Just along with a load of other stuff that she's been preserving. Like we've got our summer strawberries and raspberries there dehydrated, some bramble jam from last year, some strawberry jam, I think that's from this year, the cowboy candy with the peppers from this year, and then the last of the whole tomatoes and a few other bits and pieces that we're just getting to the end of, which we'll be starting again this year. And then over here we've just got all the cookery books, which hopefully she'll be getting stuck into them and getting us some amazing recipes out of them, hopefully, some edible stuff out of it. Just as a little side note for those who are interested in the history of old properties, this room that we're stood in now used to be the original part of the dairy when this was a dairy farm. It's not anymore, obviously, it's just a little small home. This section here is the original window from the farmhouse kitchen coming into what we think was the old parlour for the dairy farm. So this wall and this door and where the boiler room is, none of that was there, this was just one big room. So this has all been put in before we moved in here. That didn't have any shelves or anything when we moved in, it was just all blocked up, so we just thought we'd put some shelves in, put all Tracy's cookery books up there, and we just think it makes a nice feature to the room.
Anyway, that's about enough from us for this week, so thank you very much for watching. It sounds as though I've got some cooking that I need to be off and doing with these recipe books. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.